Tessa Dooms on Power 98.7, 6 to 9 a.m.
The time is 6:54. You're on Power Breakfast with Tessa Dooms. And this morning we are looking at the story of Joslin Smith, who has still not been found after being missing for more than a year. But in the interim, her mother, Kelly Smith, her boyfriend, Jacqueline Bottas Apollos, and Stefano van Rijn have been found guilty of trafficking and kidnapping. Alton Hart, the legal analyst, on the line with us this morning to unpack this story. Alton, welcome to Power Breakfast. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
What is the import of this judgment? What does it mean for this Joslin Smith case? We know that she still is missing. Is this a step forward towards finding Joslin and getting justice for her?
I would not necessarily say maybe it's a step forward, but it might be a step in the right direction. Of course, you know what is going to happen now, because the matter has been postponed, I think, to somewhere the 19th, if I'm not mistaken with the date, for them to actually get probation officers' reports. Now, in that probation officers' report is where you actually would include mitigating circumstances.
Right.
And it might be in that report that we might find another lead as to where we should start looking or follow up on possible places where she could have been stashed, hidden. I don't want to think the worst. I still believe she's alive. But I think in that report we might get answers as to what happens, because there you can most probably say that, maybe, for instance, I was under the influence of drugs or what, and
Sure.
that made me to do 1, 2, 3 things. So that might be our next clue lying in that probation officer's report.
So this could be a leverage point, you're saying, for the accused that are now convicted to be able to say, for mitigation of sentence, to get a lower sentence, they will start revealing more information, and that information could then take us a step forward. In terms of how this court case has unfolded, there have been many different parts, but there's also somebody who turned state witness. What happens in that instance? Because the judge seems to have held back on what to do in the instance of the state witness.
Obviously, with a state witness under 204, they look at, did you testify honest and frankly to sort of give you that indemnity. And obviously, the judge is not the one that eventually decides completely about that indemnity. The judge will just need to say, did this witness give us evidence to the best of her knowledge, true? That's everything. She put everything on the table. And then the prosecution has the prerogative to decide later on, are we still going to prosecute this person or not? Because the prerogative always lies with the NPA. So that is where we're at. Because obviously, there are cases where the possible sentences could be life imprisonment. And then obviously, they need to now come forth and say, mitigating, what can we do? And obviously, maybe the prosecution might decide a different avenue that they will use with, I think it's Rensha Lombard or Rens Lombard, that they want to follow. Because she was involved to an extent while the crime was committed, and also she had knowledge of what was happening inside, and she kept quiet. But I don't think she was like one of the architects, but she had full knowledge of what was happening all the time when they were around each other.
Alton, one of our listeners on X was asking about the figure of the so-called Sangoma through Lombard's testimony, a woman that she says had white dots painted on her face, some African painting on her face, and that's why she calls her the Sangoma. Is there any word on any other people who are now implicated, who may be charged in this, in order to get even more information here?
I don't know if you, and I'm sure you also followed the case with Hawkeye. That guy that was apparently Ayanda, who was the local drug merchant in that area.
Yeah.
I think somehow there was also some sort of hints pointing at him, because clearly these 3 chaps that is currently on, or that was already now convicted, they had a drug problem.
Yes.
So one should also not just leave that stone unturned. You should actually unturned that stone and go and look at to how is Ayanda in that whole spider web connected. Because I'm sure there's something linking him to this person. Because if you know drug merchants in the area, that turf that they think belongs to them, they feel they own that turf and nothing goes without their say-so. So he should know what happened in this instance, because that is a very small community as well. So word spreads like wildfire there. So I think Ayanda is also a person of interest to me that one needs to actually investigate and see what was his role in this whole saga.
No, certainly. And I think we have also seen different versions of events coming out around Ayanda, including some that include conversations that were had with people in Saldanha Bay with Minister Gayton McKenzie. We saw that he was also mentioned in this trial. So I think there is a long way to go here. But we're talking about the 19th. Is the 19th the point of the sentencing? Should we be expecting that that's going to happen on that date?
On the 19th, what I think is, because remember they were postponed so that they can actually take instructions. The lawyers wanted to take instructions, but I think that was like a futile move, because you know already if your client is convicted, you need to get a probation officer's report, because that will aid you in mitigating of sentence.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that they were supposed to tell the court they already the one probation officer's report, but I think that might be that they might postpone it to a later date so that they can just make the arrangements for when the probation officer will actually see these guys to actually compile their reports, and thereafter the reports will be submitted. And once the report is submitted, then the judge will have to go through it and then weighing up the report against the different sentencing options. So it might be that we still have another 2 postponements in the pipeline, but I think short.
So we shouldn't get our heart set on the 19th. But thank you so much. That's Alton Hart, legal analyst, just breaking down the implications of that judgment that came through guilty Kelly Smith and her co-accused of kidnapping and trafficking. It's now time for the news at 7 o'clock.